Good morning, everyone. I am your dungeon master and your tiefling for the morning. I am drinking honey lemon ginseng green tea this morning, and this is Tea&D Court of Spades campaign. We're gonna go through introductions really quickly, and then I will do my recap. And then today I'm gonna play a little song for the beginning of this session to kind of set the mood. So, as I said, I am Emily, and I will be playing Nyx, the Tiefling mythical beast, as well as dungeon mastering this morning. So let's go down the line.
Good morning, I'm Nat. I play Jezebel Emmerich, and I don't have tea, but I do have apple spice cake in a mug, so I think that counts.
Hi, I'm Wiz. I play Marin Marlius, the half-elf wizard. And I don't have tea either, but I am eating macarons that I didn't eat yesterday.
Hey, it's Detroit, playing Peter Lombun, the halfling bard, and I'm also not having tea today. I'm having a latte, and I apologize if I sound different because I'm on a temporary setup right now. I don't have any of the stuff I needed, so I'm working off of like my phone and laptop I left at home. So
All good. So for a brief recap of what happened last session, you guys found yourselves in the same mirror maze that you woke up in 2 sessions ago. You have experienced a few Toll of the Bells. Tolls of the Bell. That's what I meant to say. And are slowly discovering what each symbol on the wheel represents. You came across a dead body at one point, which I believe 2 party members aren't aware that there was actually a dead body in that room, meaning Jez and Peter never actually got to see into the room because Nyx kind of like blockaded it. So
yeah,
that
what's going on? Yeah, I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, so that Marin could loot and then they could leave.
What's the big idea? Oh, is it because I'm short? Is that it?
Um, it has presently turned from being the 4 of you to the 5 of you in this little maze as you encountered a small masked figure with a sword that tried to attack you, only to discover that it was, in fact, a small boy who has had his tongue ripped out by some mysterious means and is unable to communicate with you through speaking. As it happens when you get your tongue ripped out of your mouth.
First squire.
Yep.
Apprentice.
Yeah, your new freaking your like indentured servant that's apparently shown up.
Indentured.
He is not our indentured servant.
He is our new boy. He's a good boy. We'll raise him to be a good boy.
I abandoned my boy. But yes, that is where we are picking up this session, and I would like to play a small song to kind of introduce this session, to set the tone for the players, for you, anyone listening. And I think it's very appropriate for this Halloween season. So since this is our last session before Halloween, I thought I'd play a song that you might remember. If you've ever seen the film Hocus Pocus.
Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of shadows. Follow, sweet children, I'll show thee the way. hush Hush now, dear children, it must be this way. Too weary of life and deceptions. Rest now, my children, for soon we'll away into the calm and the Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of
So here you guys find yourselves still trapped in this endless maze of mirrors. Every corner you turn, unsure whether or not it'll lead you to something new or if you've been there before. And now you've discovered that this is more than just some puzzle to solve or to die within. It's also a prison. And you're not the only residents. So we'll start our session now. How would you guys like to begin? You are now faced with this young boy.
Okay, did we get his name? I forget if we got his name.
You did not, because he's unable to speak. And he doesn't seem to remember.
So when we did like detect thoughts or like read mind.
Yeah, no, he, when you ask questions about his past or like his parents, it seemed like he couldn't remember.
Also, I think that for at least the past couple sentences, I don't know who can speak Elvish in the party, but Marin has been speaking to him in Elvish.
That's right. He
I believe everyone except me
Don't
can
understand.
Elvish.
Yeah, wait. I don't think Nyx can speak Elvish.
No, half of us can't speak Elvish.
He
I got
can't.
Dwarvish though.
Nyx can speak Common and Infernal, so it's just Marin. And does Jez speak Elvish? I
Jez
think
does
she.
speak Elvish.
Yeah, they do.
As a druid, yeah, I would expect. Well,
That's right. Jez speaks like 3 languages.
yeah, Jess is educated.
Excuse you, Jez speaks 4.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, Jez. How would you like to proceed?
Okay. Alright, what do we do, lads? Like, are we gonna leave this boy here?
No!
Yeah,
Well, so,
I vote no.
well, that settles it then.
No!
That settles it real quick.
It's a child! We're not leaving it. This is all in common. We're not leaving a child here.
If Mira was just like yelling in Elvish and everyone was like, I don't understand what you're saying. Yeah, no, this place is a hellscape, And I cannot morally leave this child behind, even if it was like an option to leave this child here. Which it isn't.
Oh, morally.
Exactly.
Also, I
Mary-
keep forgetting. Like, this is out of character, but I keep forgetting that like I put down Peter as chaotic neutral. So I'm trying to like play this out a little bit more now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, like a sudden change of it.
It's okay. Nix and Marin are like neutral good, so they're like they're doing their best out here. Marin, can you like maybe I don't know, like tell the kid to come with us so that we're not just like I don't know, is this like a this wouldn't count as kidnapping because he's not really like with anybody.
Nix, I don't think it counts as kidnapping.
We're
unless-
doing a public service.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rescue mission, I guess, because he's already been kidnapped.
Yeah, that's more along the lines.
This is this is out of character, but it's like Pokemon Dungeon. It's like, oh, rescue,
Oh my
no
God.
dungeon.
Okay. But yeah, maybe you should like tell the kid to come with us so that we're not just like dragging him away.
Yeah, well, of course.
Just saying.
I kneel down to the boy again. And say in Elvish. We'd like to help you if we can. Do you want to come with us?
The kid kind of looks around at the rest of the party for a while. His gaze kind of lingers on Nyx for a second, and he seems a little nervous. He fidgets a little with his hands, and looks back at you, almost as if looking for confirmation that, like, the rest of your friends are trustworthy.
I promise he's very tall and very scary, but he's just like a big puppy. Nyx can't understand me.
Nyx doesn't understand what you're saying, but when the boy's gaze kind of lingers on him a little while, he tries to smile and then realizes that he has big scary teeth and then stops smiling and like kind of almost mirrors how nervous and fidgety the boy is. He doesn't seem to be like super comfortable around the child, but it's not in a I don't like children kind of way. It's in a like I don't want to scare off this small child kind of way.
I motion for Nyx to come over, and then I just like smush his cheeks.
Nyx like comes over and has his cheeks smooshed and kind of looks at you like, what is happening? But doesn't really say anything. And then the boy kind of makes what sounds like a laughing noise. It's a little like gurgly because of things. But he seems to like reach out and then he takes your hand, Marin, and kind of like doesn't really quite make eye contact with you, but looks like he's willing to follow.
Okay.
Ooh, can I give him something?
Yeah.
Alright, I reach into my bag and I pull out one of my many instruments that I'm probably never gonna play. It's this flute. You can have this little flute.
Okay. He kind of looks at you a little inquisitively, and takes the flute and kind of looks at it, and then looks back at you as if he's expecting you to explain.
Alright, fine. Peter takes back the flute and like he just demonstrates like one like soft note like where to blow into, like where to hold on to, all the little holes. It's more like I would say it's like more like a recorder, like you know like the ones from like middle school.
Me typing.
Or elementary school.
Play
Yeah.
the flute? Can you play the flute without a tongue?
Oh wait, shit.
Yeah, but I don't know if he can, he blows into it and it makes like, maybe not the like most comfortable sounding like peeping sound. And there's not a lot of control in his like
Oh,
airstream while playing it, but he plays like a few notes, but they're like real, like I don't know how to describe, but to play a flute you have to kind of like control your airflow a little better, and since he has a lack of that, it's just kind of like a little off
okay.
and a little screechy, but he's able to play a few notes
Are we talking?
off tune.
Are we talking? Penny whistle solo from My Heart Goes On.
A little, yeah. It's a little bit like those bad recorder covers of popular songs.
Here, I'll get you. Here, I got something better for you. Peter takes back the flute and he pulls out a little drum that he has.
Oh.
Like it's like half, like you know how like bongos come in like twos.
Yeah.
It's like the smaller one.
A single bongo.
A single bongo. Here you go.
He takes that and taps on it, and it makes a drum noise.
There we go. See, that's just
he tucks that under the free arm that is not holding onto Marin's hand. And child has been added to your party. Okay.
Awesome. You now have a child. He can be our little drum boy. Our little drummer boy.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Alright. The clock is ticking, folks.
Alright.
Where would you like to proceed from here? If you remember the last thing that happened before the child kind of manifested in front of you is the clock tolled, and the child kind of came around a corner, so you didn't really see, because none of you were really like paying attention to what was happening in front of you. You were kind of anticipating what was going to happen when the bell rang. You didn't quite see if the child had like come out of a room or where the child actually like originated from, but he did approach you from the corner that's in front of you, so that's at least a direction that you know he came from. You can all make a survival check real quick.
Oh jeez.
That's not too bad for Nyx. That is a 12 for Nyx.
Let's go.
Alright. Oh yeah, to inform the rest of the party, Detroit does not currently have dice with him, so he'll be doing all his rolls through,
I don't either, it's the same.
Oh yeah, I apologize.
Okay, that's cool. No, you're good. I'm just letting everyone know that, like, you don't have to use the bot to roll dice. It's just for people who currently don't have dice on them.
Emergencies.
Yep. Yeah, it's your wisdom modifier. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you don't even need to know your modifier because you passed. Everyone except for technically Marin and Nyx did not. So Marin, you're kind of, I'm not gonna say like encumbered like in the actual D&D sense, but you're a bit slowed down by the fact that you're now walking at the pace of this boy who isn't like in the healthiest of conditions, so his walking speed is a little slower. And he also seems to be like still a little jumpy and nervous. So Nyx is holding back and walking with the two of you, although he is staying on the opposite side of you from the child. And Jez and Peter, however, especially you, Peter, you are kind of navigating up ahead, and you manage to start to kind of get a sense of the direction that you're walking with. So from now on, as you're navigating this place, you kind of are able to almost sense when you've like turned yourself around, you know what I mean? So as you're kind of navigating down these passageways, you start to feel as if at least you're making some kind of progress. Where that progress is getting you, you have no real clue because there's seemingly no end to these passageways. But you at least feel a little bit more confident in the directions and choices that you're making directionally. So as you continue to navigate, would anyone like to make perception rolls to see if they can notice anything on your path?
Hell yeah. This
Yep.
could go really badly, but like we're gonna
All
try.
right. Anyone who wants to make a perception roll, go for it.
That's a natural 20 plus 6.
Wow.
5. I have no eyes.
I have no eyes, but I must see. Alrighty.
Oh wait, is it dark?
No, remember there's like a unnatural light that seems to be illuminating these like hallways.
I see.
It's almost as if the mirror is reflecting a light source that doesn't exist. Okay, so Jez, you especially, I don't know if Marin didn't make one. That's totally fine. Jez, as you guys are kind of walking down these passageways, you start to notice that there are footprints that have been kind of like, it's funny because when you're walking on the ground, which is also like made of a mirror, you've begun to notice what Peter noticed when he tried to touch the mirror, which is that the mirror itself isn't really the surface that you're walking on. It is, in fact, like a stone ground beneath the mirror. So as you're walking, you actually begin to start to feel and notice that there are through the illusion, you can almost make out that there are faint footprints. Like there's almost tracks of someone that's been here before. You notice off to one side there is actually what looks to be in the stone underneath the mirror a long scratch that, based on your recent encounter, you can kind of deduce was caused by the dragging of the sword from the young child as he made his way down the passageway. But on the other side of the hallway where you guys are kind of walking now, you notice that there seems to be a larger footprint, and it's going in the opposite direction from where the child came from. So you kind of have a choice here. Do you want to follow the drag mark of the sword to kind of see where the child came from? Or would you like to follow the larger footprints that go off in a different direction?
I think we should follow the way with the sword marks because maybe there's more like him. Maybe there's more kids that we could rescue. We get some money reward out of it, you know? But also save the people, come on guys.
I don't think that there would be more of them. I mean, we haven't... Wait, when did I wake up in this whole thing? I wasn't there for the wyvern. Yeah, we're just gonna go with that. We haven't seen groups of anything. I don't know why we would find suddenly a group of children.
Well, if if you want my 2 cents, the last time we found traces of another person who'd been here before. Okay, well, I kind of kept you guys from seeing it just because I didn't want you to freak out.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
that
What was that?
room, yeah, that room that Marin went in last time when we kind of found, like, another cell area. Yeah, there was someone in it, but, like, not like an alive person, you know? So, on, like, the one hand,
Who was it?
I don't know. Guys, not to
Nick, you're acting like we haven't seen a corpse before.
not to get, like, deep here, but y'all are my only friends, so it's like, I wouldn't recognize the body or anything like that.
Alright. So,
I know that we've seen dead bodies before, but, like, it's a little unnerving when you're, like, trapped in the same space as the dead body. And God, I'm so glad this tiny child can't understand a word I'm saying right now.
Peter
but
just
yeah.
kind of, like, looks at you confused and like, Nix, we killed. We have killed. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I don't like to think about it, okay?
I'm not laughing in character, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I get that you're laughing at a character. So what I'm saying is basically, like, we could follow the other trace of footsteps, but so it might lead to, like, maybe it's someone alive, maybe it's another dead guy. If it's a dead guy, we can loot his body like Marin did. In that last
children.
cell. Marin can, like, stay out in the hall while we, investigate.
Alright.
Or we could figure out where the kid came from. I mean,
Look,
those are like the 2 options. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good point. I think you pose a good point. Like, the footsteps are leading away, so it's like, at least it's like we'll be behind it in a sense. We'll have the advantage potentially. So
yeah.
No, you know what? I'll switch my vote to the footsteps.
Okay. Marin, did you have an opinion?
I have an opinion, but I think we just need to get out of here.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously the quicker we get out of here, the better.
I mean, do you have any idea on how to do that yet?
No.
Okay, so footsteps it is.
Alright, march.
Alright, so you guys have chosen to follow the footsteps.
Before we keep walking,
Yes.
can I crouch down again and talk to the boy?
Marin is being the epitome of how not to talk to small people. But yes, you can talk to the boy.
It's a child.
I know, it's a child. It's a different circumstance. But go ahead.
Here's my eyeball on you immediately.
Yeah, but Peter gives you the stink eye every time you do it. What would you like to say to this boy? Also, you're muted. I don't know if you know that. Ruh-roh. Oh. Okay, we are holding. Apparently there is noise happening in the same room as Wiz.
What are we holding?
Okay.
Our horses, maybe?
Do you want to ride on my back? Would that be easier than walking?
Oh.
I will say...
You can't understand me.
What's that?
I was talking to Peter. Don't awe at me. You can't understand me.
I will say, just to let you know, as a DM, that this won't really change the issue that you're walking slower because you'll still be like.
Oh, I know.
At this point, it'll be like you're encumbered with the kid. But like, yeah, I was just letting you know. The kid kind of looks, considers it for a moment before like nodding a little shyly. And Peter, does your drum have like a strap or something on it, or is it just like a drum?
I think it's just like a singular, just bongo with no strap or anything. It's just pretty simple.
Okay, so there's not really anything for him to like. He'd be holding it.
Bag.
Okay, he hands you the drum and kind of.
I guess I just tie it on my fucking belt with a spare strap or something.
Okay. You have disadvantage on stealth checks as the drum hits your leg every time you walk.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to be a good boy to my boy.
It's okay. So the boy kind of like scurries. Is my mic getting picked up or am I cutting out?
Oh, no, you're good.
No, you're good.
Okay. Sometimes my Discord like lags and doesn't show my audio getting picked up, so I wanted to make sure you could still hear me. The boy kind of like scurries onto your back. And for a moment maybe like chokes you a little awkwardly because he's trying to like adjust his weight, and then settles onto your back comfortably. So your speed is technically halved right now, Marin. If you like enter a combat situation and you still are trying to hold this boy on your back,
That's fine.
your speed will be halved.
Okay.
But yeah, so you also have like disadvantage on stealth checks, not just because of the drum, but because you're also holding a small child, so it's harder for you to navigate.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm
fine taking that with my big strength of 10.
You're good.
Peter's 8.
Alright, so you guys are following these footsteps down. They seem to lead. It's a little easier for you, Jez. You're kind of leading the pack because you're the one who can see them the best. Maybe in your years of traveling, you've kind of, and the fact that you are a druid, you've picked up on tracking footsteps a little better than everyone else. So you're kind of squinting through the illusion. Nyx actually at one point looks at Marin and he's like, do you still have like, oh wait, it didn't work last time, right? When you tried to use the goblin glass to like see past the mirrors? Did we even try that yet?
I thought we did, but maybe we didn't.
I think you did. Never mind. I was gonna have Jez try to see the footsteps better, but if it's just reflecting the mirror stuff back at us, I don't think it'll be any help.
It's in my bag.
What was that? My Discord suddenly like jumped a whole bunch. That was very weird. While you guys are actually walking, you hear the tolling of the bell. And it echoes throughout the chamber. So you pause in the middle of your tracking for a moment. And everyone, I need you to make, I think it's a wisdom saving throw. Give me 2 seconds to double check. Oops.
Well,
Either way, you're gonna have to roll a d20, but let me make sure it's a wisdom modifier that you're adding to it. Yep, a wisdom saving.
well.
As
Saving
you
throw?
are
Ooh,
a saving throw.
unnatural 20, 18 plus 2. Woo!
Sweet.
Okay, that's a little bit.
Oh,
better.
that's a nat 20 for Nyx.
Yeah.
Plus a 1, so it's a 21. What a waste of a of a 20 for Nyx. Never in combat.
Just got an 11.
Okay.
Not great.
It's actually okay. An 11 passes. That barely passes, but it passes.
You know, we'll take that. C's 8 degrees,
so
so...
so as you guys are walking down this hallway, you start to hear those whispers pick up again. You heard them previously, and I believe someone failed their wisdom check the last time it happened and ended up taking psychic damage.
May have been me.
Peter, you are familiar with this effect as a bard, and especially as a College of Whispers bard. This is definitely like the Dissonant Whispers spell.
You can't fool me.
So as the whispers kick up, you kind of like notice that that's what's happening, and you are like, everyone fucking cover your ears and like don't listen to them. So the whole party quickly like moves to cover their ears as these whispers kind of fill the chamber around you. Hold on, I have to. Okay, the child even manages to. He sees all of you covering your ears and quickly slaps his hand over his ears, and kind of like looks around frantically, unsure of what's really happening. But luckily, because he imitated the rest of your behaviors, he's unaffected by the spell as well. And you can kind of like, at first it's so loud and overpowering that you can almost like feel like the rumble of the words like emanating through like your chest, like a really good bass. And slowly that begins to die out, and you can remove your hands from your ears, and all of you are unaffected by that spell. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job, team.
Yeah, high fives all around. It's like at the end of Super Mario, where you can like high five everyone for like a job well done and you get some bonus points. It's that. So you guys continue to track these footsteps, and as you kind of reach a point where it almost seems as if the footsteps are getting a little more uneven. And you notice, I'm gonna still go off of your original perception check, because you had a nat 20, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so going off that nat 20, you actually are able to tell that a scuffle seems to have happened in the hallway that you are now like standing in. And you notice that a few drops of blood have fallen and are now intermingling with the footsteps that you are following.
Is the blood like on the glass, or is it under?
It's like causing a discoloration of the mirror because it's like a dark color underneath the mirror. It's a very like, the nature of the mirror illusion is very odd, because it seems like at some points things can like modify it, like how Peter's spell dispelled it, and it seemed to like kind of break off the glass at the point where that spell ended. But it's just, you are basically walking through a dungeon that is being made to look like a hall of mirrors, and the only effect that the mirrors actually have is that they have a reflection. They're not actually like a physical manifestation of a mirror. And the reason for that is that if you ever walked in a hall of mirrors, it's really fucking hard to navigate when everything is being reflected upon itself. So yeah, you can see the blood underneath the mirror illusion a little bit. The footsteps then become a lot more scattered and uneven. It seems like whoever was here before maybe was stumbling at this point.
Is there,
And
like, blood on the walls, like handprint slide?
It's hard for you to tell because the mirror illusion on the wall is a lot more solid than the one that you're walking on, because your feet are kind of disturbing the illusion as you walk, but not so much on the walls. You know what I mean? It's kind of like walking through water. You know what I mean? Like how water reflects really well when it's still, but when
Yeah.
it's being shifted. Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just trying to make sure that like
It works.
I'm just trying to make sure that y'all like understand how this illusion works. It is an illusion, but it is still like a functional illusion as a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So it's harder for you to tell like what's happening on the walls. It's a lot like the footsteps beneath you are a lot clearer. And suddenly this like wave kind of hits you, and you have to like take a step back for a moment as this like acrid stench starts to make its way to your nose. And being who you are specifically, Jez, especially, you definitely recognize like the smell of death as soon as it
Oh, good. I was gonna
hits
say,
you.
are we talking like pot roast or are we talking like human?
No, it is definitely the smell of human remains.
Nice.
Or well, creature remains. You don't actually know if this was a human or an elf. And you notice actually that up ahead it kind of the illusion seems to like break off. Peter, you recognize it as like the same kind of effect that happened when you cast Dispel Magic. And so up ahead there just seems to be like a void, like in the middle of the hallway. Like it's black in that hallway, and with your who has dark vision? I guess Marin does.
Marin. But that means the child does as well.
Yeah.
So,
So as you guys are walking up,
Marin smells anything, he's gonna take a hint and hang back.
okay, so Marin, you stop walking, and since you're kind of keeping a distance from it so you can't see it too well, you can't really make out like anything specific about it, but you definitely in that dark space see what looks to be like a slumped over figure.
Okay.
Jez, are you going to keep approaching?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. It is like in your path, so unless you kind of ran your hands down the wall to see if you could feel any other entrances, it seems to be the only like path forward. You'd have to turn around to go any other direction.
Yeah.
So you continue to approach this figure. Nyx actually comes with you.
Does Nyx have dark vision?
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He puts a hand on your shoulder, Jez.
Good. Okay. Cool.
And he's like, he kind of looks over at the kid and then remembers that the kid can't understand him, but he still kind of talks low, and he's like, I know that you can definitely smell what's happening up there, but there's something like dead up there.
That is how that generally goes.
Marin's gonna hang back, obviously. Do you want to approach, or do you want me to go up?
I don't mind going, but a set of eyes might be best.
Yeah, I will come with you.
Okay.
He actually... no, he's not gonna do anything to light up that little section because he's just afraid of the kid seeing it.
Yeah. Just takes Nyx's hand. I don't think they have... Wait, hold on, let me see real quick. I don't think... no. I don't think they have anything like matches or stuff like that. So...
I don't know if you have like an explorer's pack or anything like that, but they usually have like a torch.
Yeah, but a torch is like a stick with a thing at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going crazy. I was looking to see more like candle or, you know.
Oh yeah, no, you don't. I don't think you'll have a lantern with you.
I don't. I just looked.
So also I apologize if you hear a thud every once in a while. My chair keeps like smacking into the corner of my desk. It takes a second to get on the side of you where you can hold his like normal hand, so you don't have to hold his beast hand. And
That don't matter to Jez, but okay, if it makes him happy.
I know, but he's insecure about it. And he kind of leads you towards the body. He, as his what is Peter doing? Is Peter coming with them? Is Peter hanging back with the kid and Marin? Oh wait, Detroit walked away. That's right. I'm just going to, like, for the sake of progressing, we're gonna say Peter hung back with you, Marin, and is kind of trying to, like, distract the kid. With his excellent jokes. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't roast Peter while he's not here to defend himself. So Nyx leads you up, Jez, and he can see the body very clearly as if it's like a black and white photo. And this is a, like, not like fresh corpse, but this is not like the skeleton that Marin and Nyx encountered in the room before. It seems to be like currently just like starting the process of decomposing, and like it's not really, it's difficult, it's more growing with like fungus and stuff like that than it is getting eaten by like bugs or anything else, because obviously you're in a isolated chamber, so there's not really like outside access from a lot of like creatures, so it's been a very slow like decomposition process. I hope that this is, I know I'm talking to a forensics major right now, so I hope that's like legitimate, but because it's like not being exposed to a lot of elements or creatures, it has taken longer to decompose.
We're gonna roll with it because I know you don't know about it.
Shit.
I love you, Emily. Okay.
But yeah, so it kind of looks like it still has a little bit of recognizable features. Jez, like, you don't have dark vision, but because like this is more like, you know, when you're walking down like a hallway and there's a bunch of fluorescent lighting and one of the lights is out, so that area is just kind of darker than the rest of the hallway.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So there's still like enough illumination from the surrounding hallway that your eyes kind of get adjusted.
Okay.
And since you're standing right in front of it, you can see it pretty well. It seems to have more feminine features.
Okay.
And it actually seems to be the remains of a human. And there is evidence as you kind of like start to investigate this body a little closer that there's definitely evidence of multiple stab wounds in its abdomen.
No?
But its clothing is so blood-soaked, it's kind of hard to, I mean, it's not hard to deduce that that was definitely the cause of death.
Yeah.
But it has definitely been here for some time, just not as long as that skeleton that you guys encountered before.
Okay. So it's,
if you would like to make,
all that such.
yeah, it's definitely not a fresh corpse.
Okay, cool.
If you would like to make an investigation check to see what you can find on the body, if that's what Jez is going, if Jez is gonna loot, go for it.
I was gonna say, if you didn't tell me how they died, I was just gonna have just start poking at it.
Yeah, go for it.
We can count
Jez can also investigate to see like more of like what exactly the stab wounds are from, stuff like that, like more medical oriented stuff. So yeah, just go ahead and make an investigation check. Peter, because you were like AFK for a second, I just said that you hung back with Marin and are like distracting the kid with like jokes and stuff like that to kind of be like, don't look at the dead body down the hallway.
Yeah, I hear that. Listen to the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You guys are playing like patty cake a couple of feet away from this like corpse.
Unnatural 20.
Oh, there you go.
Like,
All
Jess's
right.
dice had a change of heart from last game. We're doing alright this time around.
You find a pouch in this corpse's bag that they've kind of had. The contents have kind of spilled out a little bit, and you find a pouch with 50 GP in it. You also encounter when you kind of move the corpse away from the wall a little bit, it seems as if they have a weapon strapped to the back of them, and upon closer inspection, it is actually a bow. They do also have a quiver with a few arrows remaining in it. It's about 6 arrows, but TBH, when I give you like a ranged weapon like this in this game, I don't really keep track of the actual ammo. So you find this bow and arrow on them. It has intricate carvings on it, and Jez, you recognize the inscription as actually being an Elvish script.
Oh. What does it say? Can I not read it because it's too dark? I just recognize that that's what it is.
No, you can kind of read what it says. It's not really anything that is like a coherent sentence or anything like that. It seems to be the words to an Elvish enchantment.
Okay.
So from that, you can absolutely like deduce that this is definitely like a magical weapon that has been crafted by an Elvish village or an Elvish kingdom.
Yeah.
How this human got their hands on it, you don't really know, but as you continue to kind of comb over their body, you find the wound in their abdomen, and even though the flesh has kind of like started to deteriorate, it is noticeable that the wounds definitely hit the victim's stomach, as well as occurred multiple times, at least 3 stab wounds through the abdomen, and they are recognizable of a short sword. So you actually realize that the way that these wounds, because you have a nat 20, the way that these wounds have worked is that they have entered through the back of the victim, and they were stabbed at first through the back and then were stabbed twice more from the front. So the attacker may have snuck up on them and then stabbed them after they fell to the ground.
Okay.
But it's interesting because in the scuffle of footprints that you saw earlier, you couldn't really make out like a second set of footprints. Oh my god.
Quick question, just on
Yeah.
that, with that note adjacent to this. So you said there was a sword mark from where the child was walking, but were there footprints from the child as well?
It did not seem like there were footprints.
Oh, joy. Alright, thanks. Great. Good times. Well, definitely gonna pick up the 50 GP and we'll split that later. And
you kind of comb through some of the other belongings. There seems to be like the remnants of an herbalism kit, but it's not. There's a few things still left in it, but it seemed like in this person's final moments, they were trying to desperately use it to somehow patch their wound.
sure.
So it's kind of torn apart. you find a letter that they've been carrying on them. It doesn't seem. It just looks like a standard letter. It actually looks like a guild letter.
Okay.
And it has a emblem that looks very much like an arrowhead.
Okay.
And the arrowhead is also kind of making the letter A. So you see that mark on them.
Ooh, fancy.
And that is about, other than like a few other like random bits that they have on them, like an empty bottle and some rope. They don't seem to have much else on them.
Well, you know what you can make with an empty bottle and some rope?
What?
If you try hard enough, you could probably make a Molotov cocktail.
I think you also need like gasoline and like a rag for that.
Yeah, that's true, but like,
Someone got a lantern.
if you're trying hard enough,
Can you make a lantern from a bottle and rope?
probably.
If you
I like
have
what
like,
you're thinking here, Chaz. I'm picking up what you're smelling.
If you have lighter fluid, you can.
See, Mary gets it. Alright.
yes, fantasy lighter fluid. But yeah, that's all you have found on this person.
Okay.
Nyx kind of looks at you and is like, what should we try to like stow the body somewhere, or I don't know, like cover it with a blanket? I don't know how I'm supposed to navigate around it without the kids seeing. Unless we just kind of like cover the kid's eyes and carry him past it.
Honestly, just cover the kid's eyes and walk past it. He's like, what, 4 in like human years? Or halfling years?
He's like 6, but yeah, he's not a halfling. He's just a child that is the size of you because he's a child.
Fine, so he's pretty young for an elf. For an elf child.
Very
I think he'll be fine, just cover his eyes.
Yeah. You guys are like a little bit way down the hallway, so Nyx is talking to Jess.
Oh.
You're okay.
Marin genuinely was, when he first smelled it, was gonna say to just cover the child's eyes and walk past it, but...
Okay. That's totally fine. Jess, do you wish to offer any more insight on the body and what you've kind of like... Because Nyx didn't really like loot with you, he was just kind of there to like...
It was moral support.
Yeah, it was
one
moral
good
support. He's like chaperoning this corpse inspection.
Make sure Jez doesn't take any more body parts.
Yeah, kinda doesn't want to see Jez like harvest anything from this body.
Aw.
But does Jez harvest anything from this body?
That's a very good question. They probably consider it. Definitely poke around a little bit. In that.
From the decomposition, you can see like a few bits of bone through the tissue and stuff like that. You see like a couple of ribs, especially near where the wound kind of was, but not quite in that area. I know that I'm completely butchering how decomposition works. Please don't at me.
I'm not. Have I said anything?
I know. You can see a little bit of the skull starting to like be exposed, and bits of the flesh at the legs seem to be the most decomposed, because there is actually like a few insects and maggots currently like eating away at the flesh.
Munch.
Mm-hmm.
No, probably just like pokes around a little bit, tests to see if they can pull some things out. And it's just kind of like, wipes their hands on like maybe a little bit, part of it that's maybe a little bit cleaner than the rest of it. And, like,
Wipes their hands on the corpse.
Yeah. Like.
Okay.
All right. bow too? I know Jez cannot use a bow, but
Yeah.
maybe one of my good party members can.
Yeah, they can absolutely take the bow.
Alright, I am done. We
Alrighty.
should go get the rest of the party.
Let me...
Jez just yells, "Guys, come on, it's fine! Everything's fine!"
Ooh, this is not the one that I want. Sorry, I was looking, Okay, so yeah, you guys return to the party, and Jez... Ooh, I almost fell out of my chair, that's okay! Nix and Jez rejoin the party, and... Jez, do you, like, show off your findings? You can't really, like, tuck this bow away, so the bow is definitely, like, slung over your shoulder or something.
Does anybody want a fancy bow? Silence.
I need to check my character sheet.
I'm gonna
Check your proficiencies.
I'm gonna be honest, if no one else wants it, I will take it. I am trying to accumulate as many things that will help me actually do shit in a fight as possible.
Go for it, then.
Do I know what the spell is on this? Like, inscribed into the wood of this bow?
Let me see. You notice that it has... actually, I think you would have to either cast Detect Magic or make an Arcana check. I don't know if you have Detect Magic, which is why I said the Arcana check thing as well.
I don't think I have Detect Magic, but I do have a pretty decent... Oh, I do
Go
have
for
Detect Magic.
Oh, well, you can do either way. There's two ways to identify this via spell, which is the Identify spell or the Detect Magic spell. Or you can just make an Arcana check and see if you recognize the Elvish scripture, like the spell that the Elvish scripture is imbuing the bow with.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I just want to...
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna see.
Roll an Arcana check then.
Ooh. Math?
You know how it be.
13?
Okay. That is good enough for you to be able to, like, the text is a more ancient language than you're used to. Like, this is definitely not a modern scripture that this bow is imbued with. You actually notice in your inspection that you see the mark of that guild again.
Yeah. Oh, can I take a letter as well that we found? I meant to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're still talking about things.
No, absolutely. You can totally take that letter. That is like a standard guild letter. Like, I don't know if you've ever played like the background guild, but when you are a part of a guild, they give you a letter that's basically like, look, I'm a guild member. Please shelter me in your guild hall. So you basically just gained like the feature that comes with having a guild background. But in your upon closer inspection, so you do see the mark of that guild, and
I also have the guild membership background thing too.
Oh, well, there you go. You recognize that this is a bow that's been crafted basically to I'm trying to translate the description of the bow into like meaning of the engravings, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was crafted more for hunting than it was for battle. However, it does contain the spell Bless. you do recognize that engraved at the bottom. You recognize maybe you've been exposed in the past to like elvish religious halls or something like that. And you recognize it that it's a small like elvish prayer. And I'm gonna say with the 13, that's all you can really discern from the engraving.
Okay.
Whether or not that is all that's magic about this bow is to be determined, but that is definitely what you can determine from what you can understand of the reading. The rest of it is a little too outdated for you to really make sense of.
That's fine. So Nyx is taking it? Is that what I get?
If no one else wants it, I'll take it. I don't know. I can recognize that that's like elvish from just what I've seen from experience, even though I can't read it. So I don't know, Marin, if it's like any better attuned to you because you have elvish blood, but if not, I will take it because I suck.
I
Yeah,
cannot
don't suck.
Oh, Nyx, you don't suck.
I don't suck.
Trust me, I've seen some people who suck back at college.
You guys are too nice to me, but thank you. What was Marin's response?
First of all, you don't suck, and second of all, I can't. Just because I have elvish blood doesn't mean I can wield bows.
I know that. Most of you guys do like.
This is fair.
Most of you guys do like your magic thing, and I don't really have like a lot of magic thing. You actually see when he says that, his arm kind of like flickers with a spark for a second, and his eyes kind of like a shadow passes over his eyes, and he like seems to get caught off guard a little bit. He's like, okay, well, I have some magic things, but like my aim with my hand has not been the best in the past, and I think maybe ranged combat would be something I should try my hand at.
I think that is very noble of you.
Thanks.
And
Um,
congratulations, Nyx, you have a fancy bow now.
Cool. Let's hope I can fucking use it. I have a sword and a bow. I'm gonna do stuff, guys, in the future.
We can
Just
practice
you
together
wait.
when we get home.
I'm going to write.
Don't
what
worry,
I
Nyx,
have
I'll be writing
here.
songs about you in the future. I'll be telling your tales.
Well, that's really embarrassing. I don't know how I feel, but thank you. I appreciate the thought. Also, Nat
Yeah.
blocked. Okay, so that is the extent of this body. Do you guys wish to proceed past it?
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm
Onward and
telling-
onward.
I'm telling the boy to close his eyes.
Alrighty.
Close his eyes.
You guys continue to walk down this hallway, and the boy kind of turns his head and hides it against your shoulder, Marin. And it's kind of interesting because he almost does it like instinctually, like you don't really have to tell him to do it. He seems to like know that something is ahead, and he turns and buries his face in it so he doesn't have to smell it as well as see it.
Mm-hmm.
Nyx actually stands between the body and you, so that he's acting as even more of a wall, a barrier between it, and you guys continue past this body, leaving her to rot in peace. What is your marching order, just as a point of order? I'm gonna say Nyx is bringing up the rear.
Marin's probably just in front of him then.
Mhm.
I realize we don't really have any tanks.
Jess is in the front, I guess.
Excuse you. I tried to make a tank and it failed. I couldn't make too much of
Should
a
we start
tank.
multi-classing?
I couldn't make too much of a tank because that's like really cheap as a player character for the GM, but
No, that's fair. That's fair.
he tries his
Alright,
best.
Can I be in the mid because I don't have dark vision and like I'm sure.
Hell yeah, you and Jez, the two blind people, are up in front.
Oh shit. Well, I guess
Peter.
It's still dark, or is it?
right?
I thought.
Oh no, that's true. It's not dark, so it doesn't matter. You guys are back in the light. It's just that like section of the hallway that was darker, so from a distance you couldn't make out what it was if you didn't have dark vision. But yeah, it's bright again, so you're good.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the footsteps are gone on the ground.
Yeah, that is where the footsteps came to an end.
Okay.
If all of you could, I'm sorry, make another survival check. Rhythm, why? Rhythm got tired.
You know, that's relatable.
I guess it's been an hour actually.
A 7.
A 10. We're not doing real great up here in the front. Sorry, guys.
Survival?
Yep. Let's roll them bones for Nyx. Ooh, that's a 5.
Holy shit.
Nyx got a 6 actually with his wisdom modifier. Marin, good job.
Oh, Marin. Okay, Marin did well. I was looking at Peter's.
No, yeah, Marin did okay. Marin's the only one who passed that survival check, so as you guys walk further and further into this maze, it begins to it's kind of getting to you. Peter, Jez, and Nyx, as all of you are looking around, it's starting to really mess with your brain that like every direction you just see like yourself or the same hallways like reflected back at each other, and it's getting harder for you guys to almost find the will to go on. You've been walking straight for a while, and then you come to a wall, and Jez, you kind of like stare at the wall for a second, and you're just staring into your own eyes. And for a moment, like, you're not, Jez in no way is a like violent person or a person who has a temper, but just for like a second you feel like this frustration just like consume you for a second, and you kind of put your hand out and like hit the wall in front of you, and the glass around your hand kind of like does a ripple effect, and you smack the wall behind it before sighing with like resignation. Peter, you feel the same kind of frustration starting to build up in you, and Nyx is also experiencing the same thing where it's almost like, in his way, I'd like to hear how each of your characters kind of dealing with this like seemingly endless maze that you're walking through, because I know that every character in their own sense basically interprets frustration differently. So for Nyx, he's starting to feel a little like hopeless, and he's kind of losing that like initial drive to get out of there as fast as possible. He's starting to feel a little like tired and worn out from how frustrating this is.
Yeah, I was gonna say that well, another fun fact about Peter. He's a little bit claustrophobic. He doesn't like kind of being like in a closed environment for like very long, and now he's been in it for a while now, so he's just like, get out of here. I need to see some fresh air. So he's
So a little bit claustrophobic.
Yeah, a little claustrophobic, but pretty anxious.
Okay. How is Jez doing?
We're gonna get real here for a second. Jess doesn't look at themselves in the mirror that often. And they've spent a long time now seeing every single thing that they hate about themselves. So, that good non-binary mood.
Oh.
Yeah. So, the wall punching's definitely a thing.
Okay, I didn't want to like go out of your character with that, but like I'm glad that it's kind
you
of
nailed it. You're fine.
Okay. How is Marin feeling? Marin is the one who is still kind of has the best sense of like direction and motivation right now with that survival check. He is kind of like almost directing the party from where he's standing. Because now that he has a child with him, he's kind of like, we really need to get out of here. Like, I want to get this child to a safe place. And I want to keep going. Like, we can't give up yet. But like, he's still in that like shaken kind of mood from this being almost like a deja vu situation for him. So how is he dealing with being in this maze?
Yeah, Marin's still kind of starting to lose it a little bit. I think he's very much trying to like not look anywhere, because the mirrors are everywhere. And very much like his dream, he hasn't seen himself since he got all these scars. And it's fucking with him. I think he's a little bit paranoid. Because of the dream he had too.
Alright. And actually in the same vein as Jez a little bit, Nyx has the same kind of hatred for what he looks like. Especially like seeing his beast arm, which he's starting to notice is kind of spreading up his arm further. It used to just be kind of covering his hand to a little bit below his elbow, and it has actually started to spread further up towards his shoulder at this point. Yeah, it's not a happy fun time for everyone. The next tolling of the bell, you guys actually, since Marin's the only one who made the survival check, you guys do manage to turn down another hallway, and they're definitely, because of Marin's direction, you're definitely still moving in a kind of new direction. This isn't a hallway you've been down before for sure, but because of your party's morale right now, Marin, kind of like a hopelessness is setting in on will you ever get out of here? Oops, that's the wrong die. Oh, I think I just rolled a nat 20 with that, which is... Let's see. I need everyone to make. The tolling of the bell goes again. What is this? Thunder. Okay. Cool. What is this? Spell? Oh, just kidding. I'm stupid. I read my own spell wrong. It's fine. I need everyone to make a Constitution save as the tolling of the bell rings once more, and the walls begin to reverberate around you with the sound. And this sound seems to be you are no longer in the room. Have
What check again? Oh, you told us to make a check.
It's a Constitution. So you actually notice who has the highest passive perception?
I think that's me.
I think
have
it
a
is you
16.
too. Yeah, it's definitely you. Jez, you notice this time, as the bell like tolls, you can almost see like a faint reflection of the wheel in the mirrors around you.
Odd.
And as it like spins, like the lights in the hall begin to like flicker a little bit, and it lands on the thundercloud image. Nice job, Peter. Peter saves. Marin does not. That's cocked.
Oh.
Thank you. Nyx does not. You got an 8. I have to save for the child. The child does not either. What's 20? Okay. You don't have to put that in the chat. They're just rolling with that bot because they don't have dice, remember?
Oh, that's right. Well.
Okay, so you save, Jez saves, Peter, you save. Jez, Peter, you are almost like knocked to the side by this sound, and you kind of steady yourself on the walls, but Marin, Nyx, and the child, you guys like feel this wave of force hit you, and I have to real quick roll okay, so you take Peter and Jez, because you guys kind of were knocked out of the way of the full brunt of this force, you guys only take 4 thunder damage, but Marin and Nyx take 8. Did anyone heal the child after you guys encountered? I can't remember.
No, I don't think we ever did that. No.
No.
We definitely did. I don't know if Jez or Peter did it, but somebody definitely cast healing on that kid.
I think Jez did.
Oh.
I think Jez did.
Maybe I did.
Let me double check my notes to see if. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I am positive.
Okay, then he has been restored to full health. I think if my notes are correct, which I think they are.
Yeah, that would track.
Okay,
It says
so
I spent 1 spell. I have a note that, and I don't think I've used any spells recently, so that would make sense.
let me. Yeah. Okay. Marin and Nyx and this child, you feel like it feels like something is like. It feels like you've been shot through the ear. Like it is a splitting sound, and you like instinctively like curl over, and the child actually like lets out a horrible like gurgling sound as he attempts to scream, and Marin, he like lets go of your neck and falls to the ground and like curls up in a ball and is clutching his head, just like making this horrible like gurgling sound, and tears like begin streaking down his face. And yes, I have to mark down 8 thunder damage, so you take 8 and everyone else 4. This kid looks rough again.
Guys, we just got him.
We get in there. Nyx recovers a little bit from the spell and sees like he sees Marin and the child like cradled up on the ground, and like instinctively moves to help Marin, but then thinks for like a second, and he actually scoops you both up in his arms and looks at you, Peter and Jez, and he's like, I can heal all of us one more time, but that's it. Like, that's all I've got.
Nyx, that. You might need that later.
Yeah, I'm gonna save it.
I can heal them right now.
I'm not doing well, but I'll be fine.
No,
I can be fine. Just make sure he's alright first.
Nyx looks like really concerned and reluctant when you say that, Marin. Like, you kind of feel like his arm like tighten around you a little bit. And he's looking at you, even though he has this with him, like his focus is definitely on your well-being over the kids. And he looks back up at you, Peter and Jez, and he's like, what are we gonna do if this kid gets hit again? I don't know how much longer he'll make it in here.
Hold on. I'm gonna check my spells real quick.
Jez is gonna... Okay, I have a question. This is gonna be a really dumb question, but I have a question. Cure Wounds is a touch-based spell, so if I can touch 2 people at once, Jez has 2 hands!
I believe that Cure Wounds specifies you can only touch a creature. So I think it can only be directed at one person. Okay. Yeah, it's a creature that you touch, so it has to be one.
Okay.
I think there's like a way. I think maybe like healing word or something is something that you can split between people, but I think Cure Wounds is specifically for one target.
Okay. I wanted to double check that. We'll see.
Yeah, you're good.
Healing.
Wait, I think I have something. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh man.
I have to go.
I know. I was just about to say that. I will catch you up on the thing that you're about to miss. Bye, Wiz.
Bye.
Bye, Wes.
The role of Marin will be played by me for the remainder of the night.
Okay. So we need to find a way to protect this child. I'm trying to look at my spells and I'm trying to think of a way.
That's okay. Guys, I don't know about you, but like, as much as I don't want to be in here anymore, we're not getting anywhere. We have to try something other than wandering. You know what I mean? There's gotta be something we're missing.
Yeah,
Okay, now we gotta think about this. Where's the clock? Why don't we just destroy the clock? Make it stop ringing.
I don't know if the clock was in the beginning. Like, I don't know if that starter room was that clock, like, where it originates or what, but, like, yeah, it would be great if we could stop it from ringing. But that means we'd have to try to find that room again. And I haven't been leaving, like, a breadcrumb trail.
Oh shit, we literally just been walking around fucking endlessly.
Yeah. Fuck! Yeah, we probably should have been marking where we've been somehow.
Well?
Hindsight is 20/20, you know?
Oh, wait, no. Actually, I got the spell perfect for that.
Yeah?
I cast Clairvoyance, 3rd level spell.
Okay. What are you using it to do?
I will let me pull up the description. Oh wait, no, I used the spell for it. God damn it, never mind. No, this doesn't do what I actually wanted. I thought I could use it to like trace our way back there.
Yeah, no. What you could basically do is like put an eyeball in the room with the clock and see it. But unfortunately,
I have locate object.
that would. I don't
Hold on, let me
know
pull
if
it up.
that directs you to it. I think that just tells you where it is, but we can double check.
Let me see. Locate object. Is that how I do that? Did I do that right? I think I did. I did. Because I've been
Does it
within
have
30
to-
feet of it.
Oh yeah, you definitely have. You sense the direction of the object's location. Okay. So technically this could like you would get a sense of like what direction you have to walk in to get to the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can absolutely use this if that's what you would like to do.
I guess that's what we're gonna do, because otherwise we're gonna be lost forever. So just does that. They pull a small stick out of their pocket.
Okay.
And they make a
Oh,
motion.
oh my god, it's like this freaking witch, like,
Divine
finder.
power, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called.
And they do that.
Okay, so you cast the spell, Jez, and you can feel like the faintest flicker of the direction that you're supposed to be walking in. It's a little difficult to discern at first because right away, as soon as you like feel that presence, you know that you've walked like a good ways away from this original location.
Yeah.
Like, other than the fact that the bell has been tolling in even intervals, it's been very difficult for you to discern like the passing of time.
Yeah.
You know that time is passing because the bell keeps ringing, but you don't even know like what time of day it is anymore. You don't know how long you've been walking really, unless someone has been keeping track of the tolling of the bell, but I don't think anyone has like announced and been conscious of that.
I was unconscious the first 3 tolls, so like I
yeah,
definitely don't know.
So it's been like you've been in this maze for a long time, and you're almost out of range of the tracking of the spell, so that means you're a good like at least like 900 feet away from this object. But this does require you to retrace your steps a little bit, so you will be passing that corpse again and the location where you encountered the boy at first and stuff like that.
This boy is probably like so like confused with us.
Let me.
Huh. I'm surprised the boy didn't disappear when the bell rolled again. I'll be quite honest. Anyway, are we gonna walk back?
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to see. I've been like tracking where you guys have been walking, so I'm making sure that.
Emily, do you have a map of the maze?
I don't have like a map of the maze, but I have like locations within the maze in relation to where you've been. That I'm like, cause there are like a few times where I've posted choices that you guys have taken one way or the other, and I have like marked.
Fancy.
But yeah, you guys begin retracing your steps. Marin follows with the boy in hand, but this boy is like, he's making like very distressed noises. Like he's making that gurgling sound as he like sobs against Marin's shoulder. He looks to be experiencing like some kind of pain. He keeps rubbing at his ears. And yeah.
Jez, I guess, is gonna go and kneel in front of him, I guess. Like, pause Marin, and then...
He's, like, being held by Marin, so you're just kind of, like, coming up next to Marin, but, like, go ahead.
Let me double check something real quick. Let's see if I have one that can heal multiple people at once. I don't know why this is the issue I always seem to have. Like, I can never figure out which ones. Because I think Healing Word is also only one person.
Maybe. I could be wrong about it doing... Healing Word is not a great spell.
It's really not, but like...
Yeah, it's a creature, you can see.
Okay.
What's going on?
I don't...
I
literally...
gonna do Cure Wounds, then
okay.
again, and
we are healing the boy.
Again! 1d8.
He's a child, he has like no HP.
1d8.
1d8?
My boy.
1d8 plus...
I think I also have Healing Word as a level 1 spell.
Oh, too late.
Healing
I
Word
already
is...
did it! He gets 9 points back!
Alright,
Just like gently touches his cheeks.
Okay, he looks at you, through, like, his tear-stained eyes. His face is, like, super red, and irritated, and he's, like, basically, like, pushing against where his ears are. But as you kind of, touch his cheek, you see his expression relax significantly, and, he kind of looks at you with awe for a moment, and he rubs his ear one more time before smiling, and he kind of reaches out and touches Jez's cheek back as like a sign of thank you.
Jez smiles and like takes the cheek. I don't know. I did this with babies all the time when I babysit, but like kisses his palm and then puts it back on the kid, like puts it on the kid's cheek himself, and then like turns back to go back to walking and leading us back to wherever the hell we're going again.
I'm going to, like, for the sake of what you just did, say that you did that before casting Locate Object.
Yeah,
because
thank
you can't cast 2 spells at the same time. So we're just gonna retcon that a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. The kid seems to, like, slump a little against Marin, but you can tell that it's exhaustion at this point. And he starts to kind of drift off against Marin's shoulder. And Nyx brings up the rear of the pack this time, and he looks noticeably, like, anxious. Like, moments ago, he was really, like, slowing down and losing, like, hope, but that, like, spell and the fact that it hit Marin and the kid and, like, himself again, like, he's, like, that, like, renewed his need to get out of here as fucking quick as possible. So you guys start following Jez's little stick in the sense of direction. You are making your way back through the maze, and you come to this fork in the road that you don't quite remember seeing the first time, but that's because you're going the opposite direction. So the first time you walked through this passageway, you came out of a hallway into a larger hallway, but if you had turned around in that instance, you would have looked to your right and see that there was another hallway adjacent to the one that you had just exited from that leads in a different direction. So you come to this fork, and the stick leads you back towards where you came from. But you notice something. Can you guys give me perception checks just to see who picks up on this maybe.
$19.
Nice, Peter. What'd you get, Jez? And Nyx got it 9. Okay. You reach this fork and suddenly, Jez and Peter, you both see it. You guys are kind of leading this march back to it. You see a flash of red from the corner of your eye go through the hallway to your left.
Wait.
The one on your right is the one that leads back towards the wheel with the room. That's where your guide is pulling you. But it's in that unfamiliar hallway that you suddenly see, like, movement.
This... Look, I know we said we were gonna go that way, but that feels important to me. Jez is sitting here remembering their dream where they got a magic prophecy of some variety.
Oh. But... Wait. Can you describe it again?
Which? The prophecy?
No, not the prophecy. The
It was
Well, you said it was catching your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a
it
red
was.
flash
It's
in
a
the
red
hallway.
flash down the hallway, not the one that you were originally being led down by the spell, but one that was adjacent to a room that you've been in before. Like, you haven't been in that hallway before. You walked past it because of the direction you were walking in originally.
Okay.
Is this the hallway that the kid came from?
No, this is, you haven't, actually, it is nearby. The hallway that you are about to walk down when you're retracing the steps is the hallway that the kid came down.
Okay, so we're like back where we decided, okay, we're gonna go this way towards this smell versus the kid, where the kid came from.
Yeah, this is the area that you first saw the kid, like, turn and appear.
Okay.
What should we do?
We can check it out. I mean, we don't really have much other options.
Okay. I guess, how long does that spell of yours last, Jez?
I don't know. How long does it last? 10 minutes, I think? Yep.
Locate object is,
10
yes,
minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, let's make it fast, in case we need to come back.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Well, yeah, don't worry.
Alright. Yeah, this is Marin. I'm gonna talk as Marin, like, yeah, let's go quickly. And you guys turn down this new hallway, and as you guys start to make your way down, you're catching glimpses of this red, but it seems as if it's like a reflection, and you're not quite sure what direction it's coming in at first. But as you continue making your way down this hallway, you notice that it seems to be getting wider. Like, the longer you walk down this hallway, the more it widens out into almost like a room that you're walking down now. And as you keep making progress, tracking this red glimpse every once in a while, it's been about only like a minute when suddenly you turn the slightest bit of a corner and you come face to face with Thana.
Thana's the ghost girl?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She
It's
gasps
you.
and goes,
What?
You!
That's
I've been
Spider-Man.
waiting for you.
It's like you.
This whole time. You must hurry. Follow me quickly. And then she
Where are
turns
you
and
taking
just
us?
starts booking it down the hallway. She doesn't even wait for you to ask. She just, like, books it. And you're following her by the red cloak that she is wearing.
Yep, we're gonna keep following her. Jez is gonna keep following her at the least. I don't care what else you guys are doing, but Jez is following her.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Marin is like trying his best not to bounce the kid that is like in his arms. But yeah, you guys chase after Thena. And suddenly you come to the end of this room. And it's so weird because you almost have deja vu. It feels like emerging from the cell that you first came into. It's a room just like the one that had that time clock in front of it and that wheel in front of it. And as you're standing in here, you can see like the reflection of that wheel as it begins to turn again, and the tolling of the bell rings one more time as you enter this room. I always roll a fucking d20 and it's not a d20. And that noise begins to reverberate through the room. What is this? And you closed your eyes. Thena seems unaffected by the noise as she kind of frantically looks around. And she, I need you guys to make one more perception roll. I'm actually gonna make a perception roll for Marin and one for Nick as well. Okay. That was actually really good for Nix. He got a 19.
19.
19 too. 19 again, damn.
Sweet. Jez, did you also get a 19?
I did also get a 19.
19's all around, except for Marin's. I don't know what Marin's modifier is, but it was a 12, so it was lower than a 19. Thena, like, hears the tolling of the bell and, like, rushes towards you guys and goes, "Look!" And she doesn't actually do it because, like, she's a ghost, so she can't really, like, actually touch you, but she, like, waves your head up and, like, points towards you and in front of you. In front of you, you see a wall of mirrors, but Peter, you're staring at a mirror, and as you watch the rest of this room reverberate around you with the sound that is splitting your ears, the mirror in front of you doesn't reverberate. And Jez, there's another mirror in front of you, and as you stare at that one, it also does not reverberate.
Is it how far in front of us is it? Is it like within touching distance?
If you walked like forward a little bit, you could touch it.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. Like, just gently touch it real quick. Does it do that thing that the spell illusion does?
Hold on, I need to flip a coin. Do I have a coin on hand?
I do, if you don't have one.
Okay, can you flip a coin, Nat?
Yeah, give me just a second.
Real quick, Peter, call heads. Peter, call heads or tails.
Tails.
Okay.
Okay.
Where'd it go? It's right here. I have one in my dice box for some reason, which, honestly, it makes sense, but... Alright, here we go. It is... What did you call?
You called tails.
It's heads.
It's heads. Okay,
Yeah.
Jez. You watch ahead of you as you approach this. Your reflection comes into... It's almost like blurred more than the other mirrors. And you watch as this bell turns, your reflection quickly shifts. It's almost as if it's been like siphoned away. And you are staring at another small figure, this one wearing a comedy mask. It's wearing a white bodysuit with a black comedy mask. And it actually reaches forward and stumbles through the mirror right in front of you. But I'm going to need you to make... Where is it? I need you to make... Ooh, actually... I'm going to, describe something really quickly.
Okay.
Jez, as you approach this mirror, the child like stumbles through it, and I don't know if do you proceed to walk towards the mirror?
I'm still like a couple steps away from it as this child is coming out.
Yeah, you watched as your reflection kind of like flickered away and a child walked through this mirror.
No.
Okay.
Just because the last time a child approached us, it had a sword.
As you say that, this child seems to be armed with a dagger and is hobbling towards you.
Oh my god. Same thing as last time. Charm person.
You're gonna charm it?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
It worked last time. We can get more children.
We'll start our own orphanage.
Yeah, here, hold on. Let me just double check the spell.
And this is how,
Yeah, okay, charm person.
Okay, go for it.
Alright, I think it just happens. Hold on. Let me double check.
Yeah, what do I have to make I have to make a save, right?
Yep, a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, wisdom save. Lego. That was a 10.
Mm-mm.
Didn't think so.
Yep, let's go.
Children don't have a lot of wisdom.
fancy that.
I would not imagine so.
Okay, so you watch as this figure kind of stiffens up and the dagger falls from its hand and it kind of like puts its hand up to its mask and like shakes its head a little, and you hear like a small voice go, what is happening?
I guess if this child is charmed, Jess is gonna move forward and take the dagger from them.
Okay, you pluck the
Are they
dagger
speaking common?
off the ground. Yeah, they're speaking common.
Okay. And can I take their mask too? No masks in this
yeah.
family.
You actually walk up to the child and it kind of like scurries back away from you, and like its back hits like one of the solid mirrors.
The one it came out of?
No, not the one it came out of.
Oh.
Like a wall off to the side. It scurries away from you and its back hits a wall.
Okay.
You see a little bit of ripples in the mirror from behind it. And it kind of cowers away from you and is like, please, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Shh, we're not gonna hurt you.
Yeah, we're not gonna hurt you, pal. Like,
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
oh,
Jez looks at Peter. It's like, what did you do? You broke a child.
What do you mean? I helped disarm them.
While this child is charmed, actually, oh no, okay, we're good, I'm sorry. It takes a second, and sees you guys, and is like, who are you?
We are stuck in a maze. Much as you are now. Where did you come from?
Jez, have you removed the mask yet?
I hope so.
Okay. Oh no, wait, you haven't, because it ran away when you tried to approach it.
Oh, never mind. I didn't. I just said I was going to.
That's right. I was like, I don't remember the process of you removing this mask. Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess just probably stopped. So they're probably
yeah.
Since this kid is running away from them.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
why do I keep encountering children that are scared of my characters?
This child has been imprisoned for a very long time now, taking well to anybody. Yeah. Because of Peter's charm spell, Jez, after you answer it, it kind of like seems to almost like nod, and it's like, okay.
Self, who are you? Do you have a name?
I can't remember.
That's okay. We met another kid that can't remember and just points over their shoulder from where they're stopped or wherever in front of this kid, and points at our
you
other
see, like,
unnamed child.
The mask kind of like tilt to the side as it like stares at it, but you can't really discern like what their reaction is because it's covered by the mask still.
Yeah, that's fine.
Peter asks, like, do you know where your parents are?
I don't know.
Well, we're gonna help you find your parents. Don't worry.
Can I?
Okay.
Can you take off
Just follow up behind us and just stick close, and we'll get you guys out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
He like looks back at like Jezebel and like next, like
Okay. Nyx is like, yeah, definitely. And Marin's like, absolutely. No matter how many children we encounter, we can't leave any of them behind.
No child left behind.
Exactly.
What a great motto. Could you take off your mask for us? I imagine it's not particularly comfortable.
The kid seems to like hesitate for a moment and looks away, before nodding and doing as you asked, still under this enchantment. And you see it take off its mask, and at first, you see this face of a young girl. She seems to be human. But as she turns to look at you, you notice that like the entire right side of her face has been completely like gouged, and she's missing an eye.
Oh, you poor baby. Jess feels very sad. I'm assuming this is a child like of a similar age to our
she's
other...
around 6 or 7.
Okay. Okay. Let me double check something. Yup. Okay. Jess has 4 siblings that are all at or under the age of 7 the last time they saw them. So, Jess is having heartstrings pulled at real hard.
Go ahead.
And I guess they kind of like hold out their hand, like they don't move from where they're kind of crouched,
sitting,
kneeling, whatever the appropriate word for it is. Like they hold out their hand and they can just say, "I'm Jezebel," and that over there, and they point with their other hand is Peter, and he has really stupid jokes, but we laugh because it makes him feel good.
what?
Nyx muffles a laugh.
And the tall
He like he pats Peter on the shoulder like sympathetically.
And the super tall pretty one with the does Nyx have horns in his?
He does.
Okay, yeah, the super tall pretty one does Nyx, and he's very warm and he's good to cuddle with.
Nyx blushes like a tomato and kind of waves his non-beast hand at the kid, who looks a little like startled at his appearance, but doesn't actually look as nervous around him as the other boy did.
And the not so tall pretty one is Marin. And he's
Marin
pretty
makes
cool.
a bit of a face at that, but smiles at the kid and waves warmly. And he's like, "It's a pleasure to meet you." The little girl kind of nods and looks around at everyone before reaching out. Jez, you extended a hand, right?
I did.
She reaches forward and takes your hand and goes, Are you going to take me out of here?
Absolutely.
Jez, as you have this interaction, Nyx, like, huffs and kind of looks forward at the mirror that the child came out of, and stands in front of it for a second before you watch as he disappears through the mirror.
Ah!
Like, he takes a step and walks through it.
Just starts. Nyx! Oh my god.
Peter, you see it too. Like, everyone in the party witnesses as Nyx looks at this mirror and then walks.
Wait. Can we all do that?
Moments later, you hear Nyx's voice and he goes, Guys, you're gonna want to see this.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna cut the session right there.
Nice.
We'll pick up there. Last time, sorry, I went a few. I wanted to get through that entire encounter.
That's fair.
So sorry if it was a little messy there at the end, but I promise we'll pick up and we will be back at our normal time, hopefully. But yeah, thank you all for coming. Sorry this is a little rushed at the end. This is a weird time for everyone, so it's kind of like a slot that we had.
Yeah.
It just happened to work, yeah.
Yeah, that
I'm
just happened to
sorry
work.
about the last minute stuff.
You're a-okay. Obviously Wiz had to leave early, but with that being said, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you to my players for playing.
Thank you,
and
Emily, for DMing.
Sure. And we will pick up with that next week. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Yep.